They said it was tradition. They said it will make me a woman. But all I remember was pain. I screamed until I passed out. My name is Nkem, and this is the story of the day I tried to run. In the village of Umweke, life moved to the rhythm of tradition. The people respected the land, feared the gods, and upheld customs older than memory. And one of those customs was the cleansing of girls, a ritual masked in song and silence. It was the womanhood season, when the winds whispered secrets and mothers began tying red clothes on doorposts to signal a girl had reached the age. Girls disappeared for a few days and returned changed, not just physically, but in spirit. Some smiled, but never laughed again. Others spoke less, and no one dared ask what had happened. That year, the sun stood high and angry when Nkem's turn came. She was only 8. The compound was alive with drumming and dancing. Women ululated, throwing cowries in the air. Chickens squawked, pots bubbled, and the scent of palm oil and sweat filled the air. But beneath all the noise, behind the barn, where yam trindles climbed like desperate fingers, Nkem crouched in silence, tears streaming down her dusty cheeks. She had heard them talking days before. Her grandmother, Mama Agbomma, tall, stern, revered, had said, "This one must be tamed before she starts walking like city girls with hips that bring trouble." Her mother had nodded, eyes cast low. No one argued with Mama Agbomma. But Nkem did not want to be tamed. She liked running barefoot, climbing trees, swimming in the river like a fish. She wanted to grow into her womanhood in her own way. So, that afternoon, as the drums got louder and the women circled closer, she whispered to herself, "Run, Nkem, run before they change you forever." Her little feet sprinted, arms pumping like a frightened antelope. She dashed past goats and startled chickens. She almost reached the narrow forest path. Freedom. But then she felt a rough hand yank her back. Her uncle. "Where do you think you are going, you shameful child?" he roared, holding her wrapper. "No, I don't want it. I don't want to be caught. Please let me go." Nkem screamed, fighting like a cornered cub. Her sobs echoed, but no one came. Instead, the women sang louder, not out of joy, but to drown her voice. They carried her to the bush. The woman with the blade had no smile, no mercy, only eyes like stone and hands that moved with ancient duty. They called it cleansing. But what Nkem felt was not cleansing. It was fire. It was pain that cracked her voice and stole her breath. She fainted from the agony, and the world turned to black. Years passed, Nkem grew tall and beautiful, but something in her never quite grew with her. She didn't laugh as freely. She avoided dances. She covered herself in long wrappers, even in the dry season. Inside, she carried a wound no one could see, a silence she couldn't explain. Then came Obi. He was a visitor from a neighboring village, sent to train with a local craftsman. Tall, kind, and always smiling. He noticed Nkem one market day. As she arranged bitter leaf into neat piles, he greeted her, asked her name. She barely answered. But Obi didn't give up. He helped her fetch water. He brought her roasted groundnuts. He asked if she liked moonlight stories. And slowly, Nkem started to smile again, then laugh, then talk. He made her feel seen, not as a girl who had been through the ritual, but as a woman full of light. He asked to marry her. Her family rejoiced. Even Mama Aboma nodded with approval. But Nkem was afraid. Their wedding was simple and sweet. Drums, laughter, dancing. But that night, when the guests had gone and the moon hung like a guardian in the sky, Nkem sat on the edge of the mat, frozen. Obi came and sat beside her. "Are you afraid?" he asked gently. She nodded, her hands twisting in her lap. He smiled softly. "It's okay. I'll wait. I'll always wait." And he did. Days passed. She avoided his touch. Nights were quiet. The weight of her past pressed heavier each day. Then, one night, under the whispering lantern, she spoke. "Obim, something happened to me when I was 8. They caught me. I begged them not to, but they didn't hear me. I still feel it. The pain, the shame. I don't feel like a real woman." Obi's face changed, not with anger, not with disgust, but with sadness. He held her hand. "Nkem, you are more of a woman than anyone I know. What they did to you is not your fault. And you are not broken. You are brave," he said, looking into her eyes. She broke down and cried in his arms. From that moment, they began a new journey. One not of marriage, but of healing and deep friendship. Obi helped her find a women's center in the nearby town. There, Nkem met others like her. Girls with brave hearts and scarred bodies. They shared stories. They laughed. They cried. They held each other up. And Nkem began to rise. Not just as a survivor, but as a voice. She and Obi began speaking in schools and churches. She told her story to girls who still had a chance. Obi spoke to fathers and chiefs, urging them to protect their daughters. They faced resistance. "Are you saying our ancestors were wrong?" Some men barked. "Do you want our daughters to be shameless?" Others challenged. But Nkem stood tall. "I am not against our ancestors. I am against pain. I am not ashamed of my body. I am ashamed of the silence that let it happen." Slowly, hearts began to change. Some mothers cried after her talks. Some fathers pulled their daughters closer. And every time Nkem walked through the village square, hand in hand with Obi, the people saw that love, true love, was not about control, fear, or pain. It was about healing, about choosing each other again and again. Moral of the story: tradition without love becomes cruelty. Families must stand as protectors, not perpetrators of tradition. The pain of a girl should never be seen as a rite of passage. True womanhood is built on respect, love, and the freedom to choose her own path. True strength lies not in what we've endured, but in how we rise from it. Healing begins when we embrace our scars and break free from the pain of the past. Love, support, and courage can transform the deepest wounds into triumphs of survival and hope. Say no to female genital mutilation.